Hello everybody and welcome back to a new mod showcase. Today we've got the Legion of Greed mod. As ever, CA is continuing to cock-block us when it comes to the Slaanesh content we are deeming and really wanting. So instead, obviously mod creators are coming in clutch with our fantasies and lack of exposure to Slaanesh. So today we've got the Legion of Greed, and what better background than a massive gaping hole to get us started. Obviously it's the mouth of Maw. I'm going way off track. If you do enjoy this video, please do leave me a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's just get into this before I already get demonetized. Okay, so here we go with the Legion of Greed over here in the Southlands, the Badlands, the Darklands. Not the Darklands, definitely not. There's actually a really cool... sorry, I'm getting completely sidetracked right now. Landmark building in Karaka Asgal there. So already, straight up to get-go, keep an eye out for some, unique landmarks because, this mod adds them as well. That's really cool, actually. Sorry, back on track. We've got the Legion of Greed, led by the voice of Avidity here in the Badlands. We've also got a generic hero here, which we can just whack in there for simplicity. Straight off the get-go, we are at war with the Orcs here, and we are spawning very close to Scarbrand here. Kind of scary. In terms of starting position, it's not too bad. Yeah, you're going to be in the middle of a lot of boys. Obviously, not a lot of people are going to like you as Slaanesh, and you're not too far away from Order Tide faction as well. We're obviously having dwarves just here, dwarves just there, dwarves just here, border princes, and other such atrocities around you. In terms of where you recruit your new units from, because this mod adds plenty of new units as well as lords and heroes, let's have a look. So as you go on here, we've got the basic military buildings here. We've got the Pit of Avarice, and I hope I'm saying that properly, which is where you're going to get most of your new units from. As you can see here, you got your Vein Blade, and oh my god. I promise you this video is going to get banned. I thought that said click cleavers. It actually says guilt cleavers. Look, alright, I'm stopping. I've got issues. I mean, I'm going to stop. Guilt cleavers. As you move up to tier 2, you then unlock Lash Bearers. As you move up to tier 3, you get the Sorcerer of Greed, which is your hero, your Myrmidons of Mercury, and Hoplites of Aurum. Moving up to tier 4, you get the Alloyed Guard there, and then all the way up to tier 5, you've got the Gilded Tormentors, the Lustre Guard, and the Auric Attendants. Some really cool names, to be fair. Another building just next to it here, we've also got the Stables of Splendor, which is going to give you your more Cavalry / Monstrous units here. So we've got the Auric Ravagers, we've got the Jeweled Temptress, which is a single entity boy, which is looking pretty nice there. And all the way up to tier 5, we've got the Auric Ascendants there, as well as the Idol of Avarice. Single entity, so I'm assuming it is a big boy. So yeah, all round looking pretty nice. In terms of other units, we do have... oh no, they're just chosen as Slaanesh there. I think that's pretty much all she wrote for different buildings and stuff like that. So your main focus, if you want to play with this mod and experience what you can, is going to be focused here. Now, as for the boy herself, I say the boy herself, the person herself, she is going to be focusing on trying to get vassals as well as diplomatic treaties with factions. Because the more she has passively incoming, the better she does in battle, basically. The more resistances and stuff she gets. I think it says it here. Let's have a look. Does it say here somewhere? No, actually doesn't. But I'm telling you right now, as a matter of fact, you basically get more resistances the more money you have per turn, which is really nice. Having a look at her unique tree, obviously we've got she's like a pseudo spellcaster. I say pseudo spellcaster like she's not completely, she's a spellcaster, but she's obviously got her unique tree. So as we go down here, giving a more health ward save, casualty replenishment for local province as well as Slaanesh corruption, which is nice. Income from post battle as well as sacking settlements and the ability a treasure of the vaults. What does this actually do? Okay, some nice buffs all around. Rings of Rapture, Gilded Corset of Girding, and a Caressing Tunic if you got them. Nice. Okay, sure. Moving on, we've got Bartered Grace. There you go. Diplomatic Relations plus 30 with Warriors Chaos, Demons of Chaos, Chaos Dwarves, Ogre Kingdoms, Beastmen, and Norska, as well as the upkeep reduction to your army minus 10, which is nice. And then Legion of Greed, 3 of these, which is going to buff all your boys there, all your new units. We've got the ability Paragon of Avidity, melee defense plus 18 for all Legion of Greed units, and physical resistance plus 20 for all Legion of Greed units. The very last token here, last skill, sorry, here, is spell resistance plus 15 for your army, and then cooldowns plus minus 10%, so they're going to come back quicker, as well as 10% cost reduction as well. So that's lovely jubbly, really. There is also a Lord you can recruit, just to throw that in there as well. So we've got the Greed Lord here. Again, character models we will look at when we jump into the game, into this battle, sorry. But all around looking absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, there is the Legion of Greed looking beautiful in all glory. Let's jump into her skirmish battles now so we can actually zoom in all her nooks and I'm going to stop. Let's just go to the units. One thing I will just quickly throw in there while Nakari's doing his thing is when you actually come to installing this mod, I don't know if this is going to be for everyone, but at least in my situation, I don't want people to think it's not worked or something's gone wrong. So I'm assuming you probably need Mixu's asset pack or whatever, the Mixu unlocker. I already have it installed near enough always anyway, so, Jesus Christ. So it doesn't really pop up for me that I need it because I've already got it installed. So if you're confused here as to where she is, or they are, just click on here, toggle minor factions, and they're there. Most of the other factions will have it here, and assume they will update it so that they're not classed as like a minor faction and will just be here. But if you ever got confused or don't know where they are, they're right here. Alright, so with that being said, now let's jump into the unit showcase. Okay, as ever with these kind of mods, we are kicking things off. We're showing off the Lords here. Lords and Heroes. Usually some of these mods are a lot bigger in scale, like the, well, one of the mods I've got coming up, to be fair. I won't spoil it. But this one is a nice and refined mod, obviously focusing on one faction instead of multiple. So here we have got the massive girl herself, girl, boy, demon thing, voice of Avidity, looking absolutely gorgeous, by the way. Unfortunately, the little tool bits here aren't popping up, but we can see from here she does have magical attacks on her melee. Armor's not too great, but she does have plenty of leadership. She is fast as oat there, being at 95. Obviously the Slaanesh are not going to be that strong anyway, more focusing on speed. Weapon strength 440 with plenty of access to new spells and other such there. When having a look at these, here are some spells. So we've got a direct damage spell there, Final Transaction, pretty cool. Obviously again focusing on their greedy past, which have got them to this point. Bolt's Reflection there, leadership minus 12% and redirects projectiles back towards the firing unit, which is really nice. Icon of Avidity, so a buff there, mass plus 66%, armor and damage resistance, affects all allies in range, not just one unit. Thief of Charms, base weapon damage goes down and armor piercing goes down, but it negates magical weapons within the affected area, which is not too bad either, up to 3 enemies in that range. So they do less damage all around, weapon and armor piercing, and then they also lose their magical weapons, which is really good, to be fair, and it spreads lovely. We've also got Chains of Covetousness, which does damage over time, effect there, 50 to 100 damage per second, but also gets rid of the charge and charge speed as well, so you're going to be able to slow down some cavalry, which is really nice. And finally we've got the Gilded Blade spells there, so a nice magic missiles, which is doing a hefty amount of damage if it actually manages to hit, as well as doing a contact effect of blinded, which gives the debuff of melee attack -24, melee defense -24, missile block chance -25, and speed -50. So if this hits, those boys are going to be left out in the open. So and heavily debuffed at that as well. All around looking really cool. Price of patronage there as well. Nice augmented ability, giving plus 10% damage resistance all around. She's a siege tracker. She's also demonic as well, so she will just fade away. But she also has other things like Strider. She can fly as well. Off she goes, and she's huge. So just take into account these aren't just incredibly small. She's just incredibly tall. Looking down here to the lords, then we have got your lord. Lords and heroes. You've got your lord on the left, looking absolutely glorious, and then you've got your hero on the right, filling two very different purposes, which is really nice. You've got your Lord of Greed here. Again, unfortunately, not being able to see a little tool bits here, but this mod is very, very new, and I'm sure will be updated. He does have an active ability called Treasures of the Vault there, which again has those buffs which we looked at on the campaign map. He has immune to psychology as well as some other nice abilities there, as well as some good resistances to be fair. 15 missile, spell, and then 5 to physical, so all around not too bad. In terms of stats, he's absolutely powered out the wazoo with 100 health there. 100 health, he doesn't have 100 health. 100 armor. Nice leadership, plenty of melee attack and melee defense, and then 490 weapon strength with that bonus V's infantry. So this boy, I love the way he sounds while he's moving around as well. This boy is going to be really good at basically holding the line and leading the Legion of Greed. There we go, that was a mouthful for whatever reason. But yeah, a nice new lord there, looking beautiful in all its glory. Moving on to the hero, again, going to be serving its own purpose to this little mod pack. We've got the Sorcerer of Greed. Again, unfortunately, cannot see his little traits here, but he's pretty stonky, to be fair, for a spellcaster. Armor 80, yeah, not too bad. Leadership's not massively high, 60. Speed is quite slow, but melee attack and melee defense is actually pretty good. 360 weapon strength, but he doesn't do a bonus to anything, unfortunately. What he does do a bonus to is slapping chops with his spells, though. Whoops, I just moved it. So he has obviously basically all the spells we just looked at from the Voice of Avidity there. So yeah, plenty of new spells there, which is looking really nice. Moving on to the units, let's head on over here first. We have got your lowest tier boys. We've got tier 2 and tier 3 base variants of your infantry. So you've got your guilt cleavers, not your cleavers. Here, we'll start on the left here with the lash bearers. So these are going to be some of your more generic units. I love the fact that these also have a captain in the middle here, looking very reminiscent to an orc or orcai from Lord of the Rings, but all around. Loving it. So these are tier 3 whip infantry. Again, unfortunately, you cannot see the tooltips, but as you can see, they are shielded, so obviously have some defense against range, as well as poison attacks on their melee, which is lovely. They are also expendable and immune to psychology, so all around pretty cool looking. Yeah. To be fair, not a bad unit. Can hide in forest and have Strider as well. Moving on to the other variant here, we've got the Guilt Cleavers. I really need to double check. Again, having the captain in the middle here, looking lovely jubbly, leading his Orcai, which are definitely not Orcai, into battle. Again, stats not too great. Yeah, nothing really to write home about, but they do have a bonus feast large because they are technically halberds. These are halberds, if you did wonder. They are also following with the same abilities and traits, so they are expendable and immune to psychology. So lovely jubbly. People aren't going to care if they die. Moving on to the Vein Blades. These are your more generic sword variants. So again, you can see they are all following suit with one another, but these ones are more your sword variants than what the other two variants were. So these are going to be your more frontline boys. They don't unfortunately have a bonus for Tier Infantry or anything like that, but they are going to have better melee defense. Melee defense. Sorry, because I read that. Melee attack and stuff like that than the other variants, because that is going to be their more primed focus, is getting in and fighting with the swords instead of actually going down after large units. So there you go. There are your base chaff. Let's head on to your little more upgraded and heavily armoured boys before we look at some monstrous monsters at the end. Let's keep on going. Okay, so here we go. Moving on to your more heavily armoured core infantry now. Again, looking absolutely beautiful. Again, especially with the more captain variant in the middle. I just wish this was like base game. I wish like just having a captain, even if he dies, it doesn't matter because one of these other boys will just take over his place. But absolutely beautiful. So these are your hoplites of Arurum, yeah. They do have the tooltips here, so they're armoured and shielded, so having 100 armour and the shield there is going to give them some nice passive bonuses. Obviously the small arms block or whatnot, really nice. They are anti-large because they have a massive effect off shields, spears. And they do have charge defense against large foes as well, which is really nice. Looking at the actual stats then, so again for tier 2, 100 armor is insane, and they do have the bonus for large there on the weapon strength. Melee defense really good, so we're going to be able to hold the line. Melee attack a little bit lower, but they're tier 2, so you know, not got a great charge bonus, but that's not really what they're there for. Plenty of resistances, which is really nice, as well as again the immune to psychology. They also have the unassailable envy there, which as long as they're not moving gives them 9 damage resistance after 30 seconds. I think that builds up as long as they don't move, which, oh god, that is insane. Moving on to the basically shielded variant. Where's the captain? There he is. Look at him. Oh, we've got the Myrmidons of Mercury here. So these are now tier 3, obviously a little bit upgraded than the other boys down there, the hoplites, but these are looking, oh my god, absolutely beautiful. I'm slowly falling in love with Slaanesh. So these are armoured and shielded, unfortunately not having much more on the tooltip there, but they are just pretty much just that, armoured and shielded. Absolutely out the wazoo again with the armour, up to 100 armour. Melee attack and melee defence, really nice and high there. Weapon strength being 40. No bonus for these anything, unfortunately, but probably don't need it. They are in a tier 3, so don't forget they're not the elite of the elite. Some resistances to boot, as well as the immune psychology and the unassailable envy again there. So they'll get the bonuses as long as they're not moving too, which is absolutely glorious. Moving on over here. Where's the captain? I know you're here somewhere. Don't do this to me. You have to have a captain. Oh no. Oh no. They failed me. No. I refuse to believe you don't have a captain. They don't have a captain. That's a shame. Watch him be just like in the middle somewhere. Oh, that's a shame. Well, this unit doesn't have a captain because they don't need it, I guess. Fuck them. Fuck the captains. So these are the gilded tormentors. I mean, captain or not, they are beautiful looking boys. So again, unfortunately, nothing on the tooltips, but we don't need tooltips. We've got 120 armour and 85 leaderships of these boys. Are not going to be going anywhere or dying anytime soon. Speed not too great, but they are mere humans. So, you know, don't have that demon speed. Melee attack plus 46 and melee defense at 60 there. So these boys are going to be holding the line like crazy. Weapon strength at 68 as well, and a charge bonus of 26. Being dual wielded as well, these boys are going to be so good at just basically holding the line and getting into the nitty gritty. Again, similar resistances to the other ones with the unassailable envy there to help them. If they just sit there, they're going to get pretty stronky. Here, God, these are some shiny boys. Unfortunately, these don't have a captain, but probably don't need one either. This is the Lustre guard, yeah. These are great sword infantry with an entity count of only 16. Unfortunately, these are your more specialised Giga Chads. Looking at the stats, only 90 armor, 80 leadership. So, yeah, alright. Yeah, not too bad. But they do have plenty of melee attack and 96 weapon strength. So these boys are going to be cleaving people in half. On top of that, they also have the magical attacks as well as the bonuses from the other variants before them. For a tier 3 infantry choice, this is pretty nice. Moving on here, we've got a captain. Holy shit! We've got the Auric attendants here. So these are classed as spear infantry. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, she's got a dual sword, so we don't need to worry about her. But yeah, I guess they are spears. Yeah, holding them really fancily, to be fair. These have 90 armor, 90 leadership, so they're not going to be going anywhere either. Again, resistance is very similar, but being spears, I would like to assume they would have some kind of bonus at least large, but it doesn't actually say that they do. What it does say that they have, though, is magical attacks, very similar to some of the other counterparts. So, cool, nice unit. Entity count of 32, so there's not many of them, but yeah, definitely going to be able to hold the line with 52 melee defense there, and then alright weapon strength, alright melee attack. All round, not too bad, but just low in entity. Moving on to no captain. Oh, we've got a captain, and he's a big boy, and he looks glorious. Look at him. Damn, son. Damn. Yeah, looking fantastic. Look at these. So impressive what this mod creator's done. So these are your alloyed guards. So these are armoured and armour piercing, which is lovely to see the tooltip there. Thank you so much. They've got 90 armour, tier 3 infantry still, by the way. So, you know, not tier 4 or tier 5, still in tier 3. But these are going to be your more elite core infantry regardless. So yeah, 90 armour, 82 leadership, speed not looking too great, but they're not demons. Melee attack 48 and melee defense 36. Weapon strength up there at 46 as well as the armor piercing. So yeah, a nice variation of the other units we've just seen before them, filling obviously their own goal in life with that armor piercing damage. When it comes to abilities and resistances, the exact same of what we have been seeing, keeping a nice theme going there. Now that is all she wrote for the infantry choices. All, may I add, melee focused, but you know, cool melee, very beautiful melee. Let's head on over now to the more monstrous and cavalry choice. I say cavalry very loosely. Let's just go have a look. Okay, moving on then. So we have the more cavalry focused units here with, well, a nice reskinned Centaur unit. Not too sure about the breastplate, but we'll move on from that. Auric Ravagers here with an entity count of 60. That's not too bad. Unfortunately, I'm missing a total truck again. But obviously, we can see here they do have 45 armor, 60 leadership. So yeah, they're only tier 2, so give them a break. Speed 89, so going to be able to get around the battlefield fairly quickly. Alright starts, and yeah, pretty good charge bonus there. They also have Primal Fury there, so as long as the leadership is higher than 50, they get more speed, more charge bonus, and more melee attack, as well as the immune psychology. They also have other nice passives there. Vanguard Deployment, Strider, Immune Psychology, Devastating Flankers are going to be good to get around people, Woodsman, and then stuff like Rowdy, that's nice, Perfect Vigor, and leadership, as long as the leadership is higher than wavering. So these boys are really going to be able to get around the battlefield because they've got perfect vigor, as long as they're not breaking or wavering. Yeah, these boys are going to be insane. And then bounty assaults there, so the more kills they do, doesn't say there. Oh yeah, there you go. Each kill increases their defense. So the more kills they get, the more damage resistance they get, and the more melee defense they get, which is lovely jubbly. Moving on over here to the right, we've got, they are very loud. We've got the Auric Ascendants here. Let's actually zoom in. They're just going to be very loud, but there's nothing we can really do about that. They look really nice. We've also obviously had the Auric Attendants. Yeah, and these are the Auric Ascendants. The cool thing about these, whoops, is whee! They can fly. They can fly. They fly now. Absolutely beautiful. So these are, oh, tooltips, look at that. They are a flying entity, which is glorious. They are armoured and shielded and have anti-large as well as armour piercing, which is lovely jubbly. So having a look at stats here for a tier 3, not too bad. Obviously being able to fly, so being able to get around people. I'm hoping they've got devastating flanker, which they do, which is going to be so good to literally get behind units. 100 armour, 80 leadership, 95 speed, so they're going to be so fast. They're actually faster than the Ravagers here. That's insane. Melee attack, melee defense looking pretty good. Weapon strength there, 68 with the bonus feast large. And alright charge bonus, but they do have devastating flanker. On top of that, they've got some nice passives, very much in kin with Ravagers there with the Bounty of Souls. They also have this one, Sinful Footing. So as long as there's an enemy presence in ability range, so as long as there's someone nearby, you can use this, which is going to give them more charge bonus, more speed, and more charge speed as well. So yep, beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Really nice models, really nice units. However, I am going to place them over there because they're also very, very loud. Moving on to our other monstrous boys. Yep, thank you. We've got 2 left for this roster. We've got this abomination. Oh, I mean abomination, but also really cool looking at the same time. We've got the Jeweled Temptress here, level 3 missile monster, so probably your first and only missile unit here. I say missile very loosely. I mean, it will still be able to shoot down range quite competently. 125 range, not too bad there. Have a look at stats then. So tooltips gone. Armour is relatively low at only 30 there. Leadership's pretty high though. Speed 63, so not too bad. Being able to outmaneuver most infantry, unless you're of course the cracked demons of Slaanesh and whatnot. Melee attack, melee defense looking pretty good. Weapon strength 390, so really nice there. With a bonus feast large and armor piercing. In terms of range, charge bonuses, that's pretty good as well. In terms of range, 125 range with magical ranged attacks as well as armor piercing ranged attacks with 450 missile strength. So she's actually going to be a real heavy hitter there. In terms of stats, looking pretty nice there, and she also has the Pavane of Slaanesh, which is going to do damage to a unit and then send them into a rampage after, which is really cool there. In terms of stats, very similar to the ones we've seen. She's the siege attacker, which is going to be nice to attacking a settlement. But outside of that, she's just very much in line with the other boys, like the resistances, devastating flanker, immune psychology, and other such. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful golden snake lady. Let's just move it over here. And finally, but not least, we've got the Giga Chad. Look at him, just standing so monumentally still in all his glory. I just love how like his little cloak here, his cloth is just flailing around in this, and he's so just motionless. I know obviously the Hero Titan, which is modelled on, is the exact same, but it's still funny to me. So here we go. We've got the Idol of Avarice. Oh yeah, Avarice is how I'm going to say it. Tier 5, your only tier 5 unit in this mod, but looking absolutely glorious and with good reason as to why it's level 5. I love how we've kind of got like a zoomed in of his like crotch here, because that's his cloak flailing around. Good old Slaanesh fashion, eh? So we've got 100 armor, 85 leadership, and 35 speed. So it's not going to be getting around anywhere fast, but the armor and leadership is really nice. Melee attack up there with 65. With magical attacks, which is naughty. Melee defense is really low there at 30, but I mean, look at him. He's not really going to be defending all too much. Weapon strength, ridiculously high, 630 with armor piercing, so nice. And then a pretty good charge bonus there, to be fair. Looking at stats, he is a wall breaker, so it's going to be good to attack like gates and stuff like that, as well as buildings and stuff like that, so really nice. He does have Soul Siphon as well, which does damage to nearby units as long as their leadership is wavering or lower. Okay. So like basically while they're fleeing or wavering, you do bonus damage to them. So pretty good to basically guarantee people run off the battlefield and don't come back. Striders are not too bad, obviously not giving two shits about terrain. Devastating Flanker, physical resistance plus 20, mixed spell resistance plus 15. Siege Tracker as well, so obviously not going to be needed to have towers or whatever. You can just go straight into it. Causes terror, and he is demonic as well. He's not a real boy in there, he's a demon. So yeah, beautiful. And there we go. That is the Legion of Greed, looking absolutely beautiful. I don't know how many times I said beautiful in this mod showcase, but it'll be off the record. A great addition to our blue balls we are currently experiencing with Slaanesh. Of course, the last demon faction to actually receive a faction outside of Nakari. And in good old Slaanesh fashion, they are leading us and cock-blocking us until the very last straw. This is probably the only DLC which I think has been delayed, which is blue balling us even more. And this is the DLC which has been the longest in development, which is blue balling us even more. And they keep on teasing us with a little bit of information here and there and some unit reveals. So in good old Slaanesh fashion, they've got us quite literally by the balls. But until then, maybe this can tickle your Slaanesh pickle. So I hope you have enjoyed. As ever, if you did want to try out this mod, the mod will be in the description below. Please do go check it out and give some shout outs to the mod creator for easing us of our pain in the Slaanesh drought. But with that being said, I hope you have enjoyed. Subscribe if you haven't already, leave a like as ever, share to your friends and your distant cousins. And with that being said, much love, much respect, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.